Okay, moving on, we have Nokia Lumia. This is from 2011, no, 2013. Actually, not that old. But I just want to show you guys the Windows Phone interface right here. If you guys haven't seen it before, this is the Windows Phone interface. It's got the Windows 8 Metro style interface right here. And I can't wait to see what they do with Windows 10 on the new Nokia Lumia phones. I think Microsoft is scaling their mobile phone division down. It's not doing so well. But in terms of the interface, it's not so bad. I mean, I definitely like it better than on the Windows operating system. I mean, I hated Windows 8 because they used Metro apps, but it's totally fine on the phone. I mean, that's what it's meant for, is phone use. So yeah, you got these tiles here, and you can like stick stuff on the tiles and put people here and stuff. This is from your Facebook and Twitter and stuff. And yeah, it's Windows Metro. Windows. If you use Windows 8, you know what this looks like. And it's just better on the phone than on a computer, in my opinion. Alright, next I have the Amazon Fire Phone. And this one is pretty interesting. You got this nice parallax dynamic perspective because it's got 4 cameras plus a webcam, so 5 cameras in front of it. This phone is a really good deal right now because it's only $130. Not many people bought it. It's considered a failure, but it's not so bad for the price. I mean, it's got pretty good specs and stuff. The Snapdragon 801 processor is pretty high spec for the time. This came out in 2014, just last year, and it's using the standard FireOS operating system, which is a fork of Android. So yeah, if you used a Kindle, then you already use Fire Phone. Basically, they're basically using the same operating system, except this is a phone. But hey, $130 unlocked. It's a pretty good deal. It's not that bad actually. And if you don't mind the lack of apps, I mean, if you're using BlackBerry, you're not getting much apps either. So, or Windows Phone. I mean, for any of these phones, you're not getting as much apps as Android or iOS. But hey, if you just want a phone that can browse the web, make calls, send text messages, then Amazon Fire Phone is a pretty good deal. Let's see. Yeah, it's basically the same as on the Kindle here. You can see this interface is basically the same. Amazon actually has a decent amount of apps, I think. Definitely more than some of the other obscure operating systems. So there's a few operating systems I want to do, but I haven't been able to do yet because I haven't been able to secure enough phones. That is Tizen, which is made by, kind of supported by Samsung, but they only have one phone out for it right now. And Sailfish, which is only on the Jolla phone, I think. Jola. What is it pronounced? Not Jola, but Jolla or something. That phone, Sailfish, running the successor to Migo. I want to do that one as well, but there's only one phone out for it. And the other one is Ubuntu Touch, which is only running on the BQ Aquarius so far, but in the future maybe Ubuntu Touch will be more widespread, but right now it seems like it's not really matured enough. And Firefox OS, which is right now only on cheap low-cost phones. So there are definitely operating systems on phones that are worse than FireOS. Like, yeah, Firefox OS, Ubuntu Touch, Sailfish. There's not enough. There's more apps on the FireOS than those operating systems. So, yeah, I think it's not a bad deal if you guys don't care too much about apps. So that's the Amazon Fire Phone here. I just love that dynamic perspective thing. It's pretty nice. See right in here, but yeah, it's kind of a gimmick. I know, it's kind of like 3D. But yeah, the specs is not too shabby for the price. Okay, and it's not a nice quality design back too as well. And the last one I want to show you is HP Pre 3 running WebOS. WebOS is pretty interesting because it uses these card-based. Let's see. Start typing to search or create. I guess I can search for something here. Okay, so you can launch or search stuff like Wikipedia, Twitter, Facebook. Let's try Facebook. Oh no. Oh yeah, it does find Facebook. So it's got a nice like suggestion thing going on here. But yeah, WebOS is pretty good for its time. I don't have a See, it's got that nice swipe down. So remember that back then, none of the phones, back in 2011 when this was released, this is the swipe down from the top to access features like Wi-Fi and stuff. That wasn't very common back then, and then Android and iOS kind of adopted that from WebOS. So basically, I think Android and iOS take a lot of credit from WebOS for actually innovating and pioneering the concept of stuff like that and having this kind of interface. I think WebOS really pioneered that, but it's too bad that it didn't survive. Yeah, and then just swipe to dismiss and have those little cards. This is very, very similar. You might see that this is kind of familiar to what you've seen on Android or iOS so far. But those came later after this. So you have this nice multitasking thing going on here. Yeah, that's WebOS. I think this operating system was really ahead of its time, actually. And it's too bad that HP discontinued it and that people didn't really buy the HP Pre 3, otherwise known as the Palm Pre 3. This is basically Palm's last phone. I think the Palm Pre 2 was the one before this. This one is actually branded with HP on it. But it's basically the last phone that's running any vestige of Palm's operating system, which is kind of too bad because, you know, Palm is such a pioneer, I think, in terms of smartphones. You know, they made one of the first smartphones, which is a Trio. And back then they made like Palm Pilots and stuff. They really were a pioneer, and it's too bad that they kind of suffered. They kind of just, you know, suffered from Android and iOS basically dominating everyone else, which is kind of too bad. They're one of the victims, just like these other phones here, are kind of all victims of the iPhone and Android success. And WebOS is another one of those victims. So yeah, that is my review of these phones so far: BlackBerry, WebOS, Windows Phone, and FireOS. All obscure or forgotten operating systems, except for BlackBerry and Windows Phone, which are still developed, but unfortunately they're not as popular as Android and iOS. They're kind of left in the dust, which is a little bit too bad, because they're really pioneers for this time. Microsoft with Windows Mobile, BlackBerry was a pioneer from smartphones back in the day. WebOS was one of the pioneers of, Palm was one of the pioneers of smartphones. Amazon made a good phone. Unfortunately, they couldn't compete. So, yeah. In some ways, I think these guys all tried, and they deserve more recognition and respect. I also have a BlackBerry Torch 2. This, for comparison with the BlackBerry Porsche Edition, you can see the nice keyboard. This is the traditional BlackBerry keyboard, compared with the Porsche design keyboard, which is very more jagged, I think. Yeah, this is more like conservative. This is very, very new age and jagged. Okay, anyways, pick one of these phones up and be different. Don't use like an Android phone or an iOS phone and be like everyone else. Pick one of these phones up, support these guys, don't let them die, be different. And I'm using a BlackBerry Passport and I like it. I just, many people ask me, you know, what is that phone? And maybe they haven't seen a BlackBerry before or know that BlackBerry is still in business, but the Passport is a really good phone. I recommend this one. And if you can pick it up for cheap, Amazon Fire Phone is good. And if you don't need many apps or stuff, I recommend out of these phones, Fire Phone. If you can pick it up for like $100, it's an extremely good deal. Or the Passport, which is a good phone in itself. And then you have the forgotten video game consoles: Tablet Zodiac, Cyberco Extreme, Nokia Engage, and Gizmodo. Alright, give these guys some love. Alright, anyways, thanks for watching my videos, and as always, subscribe if you like my videos if you enjoy them. And that's it. I'll see you guys next time.